Class 12th, Subject Business Studies, Chapter 5th, Organizing, Lecture number 12. Hello students, in our last lecture we studied about delegation of authority and its elements. That means authority, responsibility and accountability. Here we shall study about principles of delegation and its importance. So let's start. Principles of delegation. For effective delegation, the authority granted must be commensurate with the assigned responsibility. Means an important consideration to be kept in view with respect to both authority and responsibility. What is that? It means when an employee is given responsibility for a job, he must also be given the degree of authority necessary to carry it out. Means there should be proper balance between authority and responsibility. For effective delegation, the authority granted must be commensurate with the assigned responsibility. So, if the authority granted is more than the responsibility, it may lead to misuse of authority, and if the responsibility assigned is more than authority, it may make a person ineffective. Fine. So for effective delegation, the authority granted must be commensurate with the assigned responsibility. Fine. Second one is the authority granted to a subordinate can be taken back and redelegated to another person. What does it mean? It means that if the subordinate fails to perform the assigned task given by superior, in that case, the superior has the right to take the authority granted to him and redelegate it to another person whom he thinks that he is better than the previous one. Fine. So authority granted to a subordinate can be taken back and redelegated to another person. Fine. Next one is delegation does not mean abdication. Delegation helps a manager to extend the area of operations. Delegation does not mean abdication, means that a manager shall still be accountable for the performance of the assigned task. Are you getting it? That if a task is to be done by the manager, then he is the person accountable for completion of the particular task. Whether he has shared his responsibility to his subordinates, but still he will be the person who is accountable for completion of the assigned task. So delegation of authority undoubtedly empowers the employees to act for his superior, but the superior would be accountable for the final outcome. Fine. It indicates that the manager has to ensure the proper discharge of duties by his subordinates. Fine. For an example, we can say suppose the directors of a company manufacturing computers have asked their marketing manager to achieve a target sale of 100 computers per day. So the marketing manager has delegated the task to a sales manager working under him, but the authority to give discount was not given by him. The sales manager could not achieve the target. In this case, if the marketing manager blames the sales manager, he cannot do it. Why? Because he was not given the authority to give discount. So the authority granted to a sales manager can be taken back and re-delegated to another person. Fine. So the marketing managers shall still be accountable to the directors. The process of delegation does not relieve the manager of his accountability. Delegation does not mean abdication, means the manager is fully accountable for the responsibility and authority given by the top management. If he is shedding his responsibility to his superior, only then the manager is accountable for the assigned task. Fine. So understood both the points. The authority granted to a subordinate can be taken back, वापस ली जा सकती है, and re-delegated to another person. And delegation does not mean abdication. Right? It doesn't mean abdication. These are the principles of delegation. Functional definition, exceptional principle, scalar principle, absoluteness of responsibility, unity of command, and parity of authority and responsibility. Now we shall read it one by one. Number one, principle of functional definition. An organization is comprised of different functional departments, each contributing to the organizational goals. So, in turn, have their specific objective. So, clearly defined objectives of each department, the expected results, the specific activities to be performed, and interdependential relationship help the manager to determine the requirement of that specific position. They are saying the employee is working in the organization. He is fully responsible for the fulfillment of objective of that organization. So, objective of each department should be clearly defined. The expected results are to be defined and the specific activities are to be performed. So, intra-departmental relationship help the manager to determine the requirement of specific position. They are saying if the manager has harmonious relationship between other departments, so in that case he will be able to sort out the efforts. He will be able to take the help of other departments as well in his work. Fine. So our next point is principle of result expected. By name we can identify it. Before actually delegating the authority to subordinate, the manager must know the purpose of such delegation and the result expected from it. They are saying the manager and the subordinate must know the purpose of delegation of authority and what the result they are expected from it. So goals, targets and standard of performance must be clearly defined to direct the actions of the subordinates towards the accomplishment of a given task. How is to be done? The accomplishment of a given task in the required manner, how is to be done? If the manager direct the action of the subordinate and he can clearly define the standard performance to the subordinates. Fine. So this principle helps in determining the authority to be delegated which is sufficient for completing the responsibility. Fine. Principle of result expected means whatever the performance is there to be done and whatever the results are expected from that performance of the subordinates, the superior has to clearly define it to subordinates that whatever the results are expected from them, they have to go towards the accomplishment of that task in a required manner. Fine. Next point is principle of parity of authority and responsibility. This we know that there should be proper balance between authority and responsibility. So see here, this principle states that the responsibility and the authority coexist. It means if the subordinate is assigned certain responsibility, he must be given some level of authority, power to perform his responsibility. So both the responsibility and authority shall be clearly defined to the subordinate so that he know what he is required to do within the power delegated to him. They are saying if we have delegated some authority to the subordinate, in that case responsibility and authority should balance between each other. Because if we have given him the responsibility to complete the particular task, we have to give him the authority as well. Authority of what? Authority of taking the tools required for completion of that particular task that is assigned by the manager to his subordinates. Fine. So that means principle of parity of authority and responsibility. Next point is principle of unity of command. According to this principle, every subordinate should have a single supervisor from whom he gets the authority and to whom he is solely accountable. Unity of command, there should be one superior over the one subordinate. If there will be two superior, then to whom the subordinate obeys, he will get confused. Fine. So, according to this principle, every subordinate should have a single supervisor from whom he gets authority and orders and to whom he is accountable. This means the subordinate should get the instructions from a single superior and perform these responsibilities as assigned by him. In case if the subordinate is required to report to more than one boss, then what will happen? Then there may be conflict and delay in the managerial operations. The work will not be completed in a manner, the work will not be completed within a time if if the subordinate is getting order from two or more superior. Fine. So finally we cannot say that a subordinate should get order from two or more superior. He can get order only from one superior to whom he is accountable, to whom he is responsible. Fine. Next one is principle of absoluteness of responsibility. This principle says that responsibility cannot be delegated. This means even after delegating the authority to the subordinate to perform certain tasks on the manager's behalf, the manager will be solely responsible for doing of the subordinate. Are you getting me? If I am the manager and I am giving some task to my subordinates, in that case only I am accountable for fulfilling the task that is to be done by me. Fine. Means I am responsible for doings of the subordinate. If my subordinate has done that task wrong, it means he is not responsible for that. The manager is responsible for that. Fine. In other words, we can say whatever actions being taken by the subordinate, the manager will be accountable to his senior. Why? Because his seniors have given the work to be completed to the manager only. He has given the work to the subordinate for fulfilling the responsibility. But ultimately, who is accountable? Manager is accountable. Fine. So the responsibility is absolute and remains with the superior. Fine. This means principle of absoluteness of responsibility. Next principle is the scalar principle. They are saying there are clear lines of authority in the organization. That means who is under whom. This helps the subordinate to know who delegates the authority to him and to whom he shall be accountable. Also to whom he shall contact in case things are beyond his control. So this principle says that there should be a proper hierarchy in the organization. The employee should know from whom he will take order, he is under whom and to whom he shall be accountable and who delegates the authority to him. Fine. And if there are some things, if there is some problem or obstacle happens, then to whom he will contact. Fine. To whom he shall contact in case things are beyond control. Understood this principle? Next principle is principle of exception. According to this principle, the subordinate shall be given complete freedom to perform his responsibilities under the purview of his authority. So, the manager should not interfere in between his work and must allow him to do even if he commits mistake. But in some exceptional cases, the manager can interfere and even withdraw the authority delegated to the subordinate. They are saying that under principle of exception, the complete freedom to do the particular task is given to the subordinate. Manager should not interfere in that and he must allow him to commit some mistakes. But later on that can be corrected. है ना? But in some exceptional cases, the management or managers can interfere and withdraw the authority delegated to the subordinate. Understood these principles? Now, what is to be done? There are some points in which we can perform effective delegation. To make delegation more effective, the following guidelines need to be observed. Number one, there must be parity among power, authority, and responsibility. and they should be specified in clear terms. You know, power, authority, and responsibility should be balanced with each other, and they should be specified to each and every individual who is working in the organization in clear terms. Fine. Second point is there should be favorable management climate to encourage delegation. Definitely, the management climate means the environment of the organization should be positive, the climate of the organization should be motivational, and the management encourage each and every employee to encourage delegation. Fine. Third point is the executive vacancies must be filled up with the best possible men. They are saying whatever the vacancies are there in the organization, that is to be filled within the possible time as soon as possible with best possible men, means the person who is totally matched with the post in which the vacancy is there. Fine. Next one is there should be free interchange of ideas and suggestions for the attainment of common goals and also an atmosphere of teamwork. They are saying the employees should be free to exchange their ideas and suggestions for the attainment of common goals, for the achievement of common goals, and also an atmosphere of teamwork. There should be teamwork, there should be proper harmony, cooperation, and coordination in the organization. Fine. Fifth one is delegation should be clear and free from doubts as to what is delegated, how much delegated, what precisely is expected to be done by the subordinates. They are saying that delegation should be clear and free from doubts. That is to be clear and free from doubts. There should be no doubt about the delegation of authority. What is delegated means क्या काम दिया गया है, how much कितना, and what precisely is to be expected is to be done by the subordinate. Subordinates को कितना काम करना है. Fine. So understood these points. There should be free interchange of ideas. The employees should be free to exchange their ideas and tell their opinion and suggestions to the management, and there should be atmosphere of teamwork as well. And fifth one is everybody should know that what is delegated, how much is delegated, what is to be done, and by whom, and to whom he is accountable for fully fulfilling his responsibility. Now see, there should be incentives to subordinates for accepting responsibility in the process of delegation. They are saying the subordinates should get incentives time to time, fine, so that they can feel encouraged and motivated to perform the task given by superior to them. Fine. Seventh one is a subordinate, in order to enable him to handle the delegated job effectively, should be given proper technical training. They are saying if we want an employee to do the work perfectly, in that case it is our duty to give him proper training of that particular task so that he can complete the task given by us in a proper and exact manner. Fine. Eighth one is there should be a suitable control system to check the subordinates' performance. Definitely there should be some criteria to check the performance of the subordinates so that everybody should know that who is doing the work better, who is doing the work best, and the employees who are not doing the work according to the given line of management. Fine. Understood all these points? So these were the points we have to keep in mind while doing delegation in the organization. Now your homework is you have to learn delegation, its meaning, its elements. Today we have read principles. You have to learn that as well. And points that are to be kept in mind while doing delegation. Fine. And one more thing. You have to note it down in your notebook as well, in your fair notebook. Tomorrow we'll start another topic, that is importance of delegation, and one new topic that is correlated with delegation, concept of decentralization.